What's up, Celtics Nation? James Anderson here, bleeding green as always, and you won't believe the news that just dropped today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash that like button to strengthen our community, and let's dive straight into this bombshell. What I'm about to tell you is going to pull at the heartstrings of anyone who loves this team's history. We've got one of our stars doing the impossible, shattering records that seemed untouchable, and a trade rumor about a return that could completely transform our defense. Are we witnessing the rise of a legend and the return of another? Stick around, because things are about to heat up. What we saw on Tuesday night against the New York Knicks wasn't just another win in the standings. It was a declaration of war on the skeptics. That 123-117 scoreline was a grind. It was a fight. But it set the stage for something much bigger. Jaylen Brown didn't just lead the team, he put the franchise on his back and marched toward history with a monstrous 42-point performance. And look, we need to be real about the context here. With Jason Tatum sidelined, dealing with that tough recovery from a torn Achilles, a lot of people thought the ship was going to sink, that our gap year season was going to be a total disaster. But what number 7 is doing is silencing every single critic, possession by possession. Right now, Brown is averaging 29 points, 6 rebounds, and nearly 5 assists per game, shooting practically 50% from the field. That is elite of the elite. But it goes deeper than that. And the stat I'm about to drop is going to make your jaw hit the floor. If he keeps up this insane pace, Jaylen Brown is on track to record the 3rd highest scoring average in a single season in the glorious history of the Boston Celtics. Do you understand the weight of that? We're talking about a franchise with almost 80 years of tradition, and he's pulling up a chair to sit at the table with the giants. To give you an idea of the level we're talking about, the only 2 individual seasons better than what Jaylen is doing right now belong to Jason Tatum himself in the 2022-23 season, and none other than the legend Larry Bird in that magical 1987-88 campaign. It's surreal to think we're witnessing this live. We always knew he was a special player, an all-star, but assuming the role of absolute alpha and delivering numbers comparable to Larry Legend is a whole other tier of greatness. He's become an extremely efficient 3-level scorer, attacking the rim, knocking down the mid-range, and punishing teams from the perimeter. Of course, we need to stay grounded. There's still a lot of season left, a lot of basketball to be played. There is hope, however remote, that Tatum returns later in the season, which would naturally split the volume and could dip that scoring average a bit. But for now, the show is all his. The next challenge is against the Washington Wizards on Thursday, a game that, on paper, is calmer but serves perfectly for him to continue this record hunt. The leadership he's showing isn't just technical, it's spiritual, keeping the team competitive and morale high, even with the absences. We are seeing the definitive consolidation of an idol who refuses to let the team fade into obscurity during a transition year. But while the offense is on fire, with Brown rewriting the record books, there is a real concern back there on defense that the front office needs to address urgently. And that is where things start getting really interesting behind the scenes. But what if I told you that the solution to our defensive problems might wear a very familiar face? While we're cheering for the offense, the front office is eyeing the market, because our front court situation, despite being valiant, is concerning for the long term. We're sitting at an 11-9 record, holding on to the 8th spot in the East, which is respectable given the circumstances. But without Kristaps Porzingis, without Al Horford, and without Luke Kornet, we've lost a lot of rim protection. Neemias Queta has stepped up. Xavier Tillman helps, but we're missing that intimidation factor. And here enters the bombshell reported by Jake Fisher. The Portland Trailblazers are much more open to trading Robert Williams III now than they were a year ago. Yes, Celtics fans, our Time Lord could be available. His contract is expiring, which changes the whole dynamic of the negotiation. And the best part? He is finally healthy. For the first time since leaving Boston, Rob Williams has put together a consistent run of games, appearing in 12 of Pirtland's last 14 contests. He might not be at that absurd Defensive Player of the Year candidate level we saw here, but the instincts, the timing, and the mobility are still there. He offers exactly what we lost: elite rim protection, smart short roll passing, and that defensive versatility that changes the geometry of the game. Now, let's break down the situation coldly, because not everything is perfect. Bringing him in via a straight-up trade is complicated. His salary is just under $13.3 million. To match salaries, the Celtics would have to involve key rotation pieces. Maybe someone like Sam Hauser, which makes zero sense for us right now. And Portland is prioritizing younger bigs. So a midseason trade is, honestly, unlikely. But don't lose hope yet, because there's a much more realistic path that makes total sense for our future. We're talking about a possible buyout or a return in free agency. If Portland doesn't find a trade partner and decides to buy out his contract, or if we wait for the contract to expire this summer, the Boston Celtics become the favored destination. We are no longer locked into those restrictive second apron rules, which gives us the flexibility to offer a fair contract. Think about it. He knows Joe Mazzulla's system. The players love him, and the chemistry is already there. He doesn't need to come back to be the savior, playing 35 minutes a night. He needs to be healthy enough to check in, protect the rim, and secure rebounds. He's the piece we missed in the last playoffs. The scenario's set. If his time in Portland is winding down, Boston is the place where he played the best basketball of his life. The league has a way of bringing players back to where they thrived. The front office will reassess the front court this summer, with the expectation of returning at full strength next year. And having Rob Williams as a low-cost, high-impact option would be a masterstroke by Brad Stevens. The possibility of a reunion is real and is being monitored closely, but this raises a huge question about our team planning. So to recap this madness, on one side we have Jaylen Brown playing out of his mind, doing the heavy lifting and proving he can be a historic number one option. On the other, the shadow of the Time Lord looming over TD Garden with a real chance to solve our front court issues without breaking the bank. Now, I want to hear from you guys. Is this hot streak from Brown sustainable until the playoffs? And about Robert Williams, is it worth the risk to bring him back? Or is that betting on the past? Drop your comments below because I'm reading everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's go Celtics.